Hello again, and welcome to what is now week 20 of our small weekly worm bin update. Now, apologies for last week, there wasn't an update, but nothing really happened. I was away for a lot of the time, but all that happened was on this side of the bin here, I added some melon, because what I want to do is to harvest about half of the worms in this bin again and start a new worm bin. So I'm going to split the bin week 20. So we split it in week 11, I think it was, and now we're going to split it again in week 20. So to save a bit of time on camera, I've already divided the bin. As you can see, this is the side I put the melon in, so I've just made a bit of a gap, separated some of the bin over to this side, and these are now self-selecting worms really. So any worms that have remained on this side, there is quite a few, as you can see. These guys are obviously not too impressed with the melon, so they've decided to stay on this side of the bin, which is absolutely fine. It's all worm bins are democracies, so they can vote with their feet if you like. So these guys have decided to stay over here, which means they're going to stay in the new bin. And now we're going to take a look here and see what we have. So quite a lot of the worm bin has, quite a lot of the worms in the worm bin have decided that melon was for them, as you can see. There you go. It's a better shot there. My hand's in the way, sorry. But you can see lots and lots and lots and lots of worms have been tempted by the melon. Lots of worms. So this is a really easy way to split your bin. Just simply put something the worms can't resist on one side. In this case it was melon and a bit of cardboard, and wait about a week, give the worms time to move over. You know, you get if that's coming out well on the camera, but you can see lots and lots of worms. So I'm going to take about this much. Weight wise I don't know what's there, but it's a good amount. So I'm just going to put these into their new home now, which I've set up, I'm going to pause the camera for a second and bring the new bin into focus. Okay, so this is the new worm bin. It's the blue blast recycling bin from the council. Like I said, I've got lots of them, so I use these for small worm bins. And all it is some wet torn up cardboard and some guinea pig bedding, because I happen to have a lot of guinea pig bedding at the moment. This could just as easily be a lot of leaves or just cardboard on its own. If you've been watching the videos, you know I've got an experimental cardboard only worm bin, and then because I do like to give them a little something, somewhere in here is a little housewarming for them. It's just a little piece of melon, so it's just a little housewarming present. So these guys, oh yeah, I should have, the other thing I added was some ground up eggshells. So the melons there, see these guys are making their way down to the bottom already, and with this amount of worms here, we're just going to start a new worm bin. So this is the mother bin after harvesting. You can see still quite a few worms there at the bottom that were in on the melon side. So all I'm going to do now is just chuck in some cardboard which has some ground eggshell added, and just flip this over. So now we have a mother bin and two daughter bins going. Just put a little bit of cardboard on this side. That's it. Just spread the melon out a little bit now, because I don't want them congregated on one side anymore. The melon has done its job. So there you go. Now, just a quick word to Laura. Laura asked about freezing and then bagging up small quantities of food for a worm bin, and if the worm bin could be kept indoors, and then leaving the small frozen pieces outside in winter in a container. Absolutely, Laura. It doesn't make any difference if they thaw out and then refreeze, because what the worms are after is bacteria. They're not necessarily after the food. They couldn't care less really what the food is, including onions, by the way. It's just onions are too strong when they go in the bin initially, but once the onion has been worked on by the bacteria and fungi and whatever else in the bin and has lost its potency, you'll see the worms move over and eat it, because what they're after is the bacteria. They're not after the food stuff itself. So by all means, cut your food scraps up small, freeze, and then if your winters are so cold that they can be kept in a frozen or semi-frozen state outside in a sealed container, by all means do that. It won't affect the worms in any way whatsoever when you feed them. And the other thing is about the bin inside, it absolutely doesn't smell. There's no smell whatsoever from the bin, as long as it's well managed. If there is a smell, it means there's something wrong. So it may have gone acidic, you've put too much food in. So that's one of the keys really. If the bin is inside, is just to feed very small amounts of food, judging what the worms are able to finish off in any one sitting, and then once that food is gone, feed again. So by doing that, you won't have an accumulation of food in the bin, which means you won't have an accumulation of any sort of gases or anything noxious, and you won't have any smells. Okay, so let's have a look at the daughter bin. Right then, this is the daughter bin that we split away from the mother bin. I think it was week 11 or something like that. So let's just have a look at how they're doing. This bin has been fed about 1 kilo of food a week. There's a cocoon ready to hatch. And as you can see, the worms are quite happy in the bin. And like I say, by splitting the population, you give the population of worms that remain in the original bin a chance to expand, and also for the worms to grow in size. Worms will control their own population extremely well, and it's based on space available and food available. So a really easy way to grow your population of worms is to just keep splitting the bins. So you can see this daughter bin is doing extremely well. It's been running now for 9 weeks. Lots of the small, immature, the juvenile worms that we harvested and put into this bin are now all mature worms, which means they'll be laying on average 1 cocoon a week or so. Keeping in mind that the temperatures have dropped considerably from these bins are all outside, so from the time that this bin was set up, the day and nighttime temperature is considerably lower than what it was, so the worms do slow down in winter in the cold. So this bin has never been fed more than 1 kilo a week, but they're doing well on it. As you can see, there's no foodstuffs left over from last week, so they're doing well. So that's the daughter bin. Okay, so we now have a mother bin and 2 daughter bins. That's your update for week 20, and I'll see you next week. As always, thanks for watching.